moment, everyone in the Pacific is talking about domestic violence against women. But what about domestic violence against men? It is seen in society today that women are the universal victims and men are the universal perpetrators. But today, my team and I will be creating awareness on the issue of domestic violence against men and the discrimination they face when it comes to domestic violence because they are men. We will be using Fiji as our country of study. Between February and April alone, the Minister for Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation, Mereseni Vuniwanga, on 5th May said she was concerned at the continued rise in domestic violence. She said the state's helpline received 87 calls in February, 187 in March, and over 500 in April. 66% of the callers were women and 44% were men, while 54% were domestic violence related and 30% were related to COVID-19. This is just the statistics for 3 months, and there was a prediction of more cases arising by Selina Kurulada, who is a psychologist. The definition of domestic violence can be found under the Domestic Violence Act 2009 under Section 3. You will now see a short clip which will show a man being abused by his wife. In society, it's usually seen in many homes that the woman is always scared of the man, but we hope that at the end of this video, people will be more open and start to check on the men around them because men need help too when it comes to domestic violence.
I just wanted to cuddle with Daddy.
Who's Rachel?
Who?
Well, it's clearly someone who you know. Looking forward to the darts night tonight. Can't wait to see you, new boy.
Carla, she's just a girl from work.
Well, you've never mentioned any girls before. You only ever talk about the lads.
Because she practically is one of the lads, as far as I can tell. Carla, I barely even know the girl.
What does she look like?
What?
Is she pretty? Do you want to fuck her?
Carla, I don't know her!
Liar!
What the hell is wrong with you?
Why do you have to ruin everything? Just the thought of you.
I don't want to hear it, Carla.
No, but Lee.
I said I'm done. This was supposed to be a fresh start for us. Nothing's changed. You certainly haven't changed.
But it will change. I'll change.
No! He's gone too far. Chloe needs me. Chloe needs a responsible parent. Chloe needs someone who won't give her a black eye when she forgets to take the bloody bins out.
You can't take my child away from me.
Get the help you need, and then we can talk about joint custody.
If you take her, I'll tell the police you've been hurting me. What? You think I couldn't do it? You think I couldn't just stick my arm on the stove just to prove a point? The marks on you were just self-defense. You're the monster, really. You always were.
Violence against men in Fijian society is far below the rates of domestic violence against women. However, both should be condemned. Domestic violence is not just about my wife beating me up. It is about her screaming at me, calling me names in front of my kids, family members, and other people, or even belittling me on social media. It is also domestic violence if she acts possessive or jealous, or continuously harassing me with accusation of being unfaithful. It is about her trying to control where I go or who I see. It can also be when she makes false allegations about me to my friends, to my employer, or even to the police. She may even try to find other ways to manipulate and to isolate me from others. And most importantly, is when she threatens to leave me and prevent me from seeing my kids if I report her abusing me. It is also considered domestic violence when my in-laws come and beat me up or if I beat up my sons at home. Unfortunately, there is stigma in society where admitting I am having problems at home with my spouse or my wife and seeking help means that I have failed as a man or as a husband, and I am often laughed at for not keeping my home or my house in order. We men are not to be blamed, and we are not weak if we speak or report the violence to authorities. Even our culture does not empower men to report violence because men are seen as the head of the family, and reporting violence to authority is an indication that we have failed as men in our duty as husband and head of the family. Psychologist Selena Kuruleta confirms this as she has counseled a few men in the past who have experienced violence at home.
Everywhere in society, people are lobbying for domestic violence against women, but it is hardly seen for them to talk of domestic violence against men. A search for statistics on domestic violence against men proved unsuccessful. Now is a good time to start creating awareness around this issue and help break the stigma attached that men doesn't experience domestic violence. While it is absolutely true that women suffer serious injuries from domestic violence, this does not take away the real physical pain that women can and do inflict on men. At the end of the day, domestic violence is experienced by both men and women, and everyone should work together to eradicate this violence. As seen in Fiji from February to April alone, there has been a growing trend of domestic violence against men.
As a man who is experiencing abuse from a woman, you may face a shortage of resources, a lack of understanding from friends and family, and even police or other legal obstacles, especially if trying to gain custody of your children from an abusive mother. Whatever your circumstances, though, you can overcome these challenges and escape the violence and abuse. Access to justice is defined by the United Nations Development Programme as follows: the right of individuals and groups to obtain a quick, effective, and fair response to protect their rights, prevent or solve disputes, and control the abuse of power. A transparent and efficient process in which mechanisms are available, affordable, and accountable. If the man being abused decides to press charges, this is where due process plays an important role. Under the Constitution of Fiji, in Article 14 and 15, the man is to be deemed innocent until proven guilty. Due process in law is the right to a fair trial and effective remedy which brings about justice. The court is to be just and fair because this will give men a chance to give their side of the story. If the court is biased, then an innocent man will be charged and could go to prison just for defending himself, or worse, he could lose his kids and his wife would use that against him.
To recap, domestic violence has traditionally been understood as a crime perpetrated by dominant men against defenseless women, and this is where the discrimination is. Until there are similar campaigns for men as there are for women, it is unlikely that the true number of male victims needing help will be known. It can happen in heterosexual or same-sex relationships. There is a need to start creating awareness on this issue that men can also be victims of domestic violence. This would be creating awareness to the police officers, to church pastors, community leaders, and even family members on the topic domestic violence against men. While we have many organizations for domestic violence against women, there is none for men. Society has to come together with a common goal to eradicate domestic violence in homes against both men and women. Thank you.